There we go. We're back in the room.
Back in the room. I was glitching away there, Justin. So what was wrong with that?
I don't know. It's working. I got all the pings, and then I got their message sent. But was it smooth at your end, Sam? Was it?
It's very smooth on my end. Yeah. All working well.
There you go.
Let's be me. There you go. Anyway, we're joined this evening by how would I best describe you? Local entrepreneur and all round nice guys. Sam McDonald's here with us.
Thank you very much. I'd take that. Happily put that on my business card, Marty. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm really well, thanks. Yeah, no, really good. All is good.
You're a busy man.
Yeah, I am busy doing what I love, though. I say I get to, for a long time, I get to travel around drinking whiskey and talking about it. So I've got every Irishman's dream.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah, you're ticking a lot of boxes. I'm having a wee bottle of stout tonight, but of Guinness foreign export. People always say, "Oh, you shouldn't drink from the bottle. You're drinking Guinness. That's the best way to drink from."
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, that's easily. Now, Sam, we're going to get caught up in a little bit. We'll find out about your latest adventure and I don't know what we've described it, business venture, remember. But we're going to do a wee bit of news first. So we'll be back with you in about 15 minutes. You hang about there, buddy, and we'll be with you. Justin, what have you been at this week?
Well, it's just Christmas shopping, stuff like that, isn't it? That's what I've been up to, same as everybody else, trying to get ahead. I mean, because it's really awkward for me because it's on a Monday, Christmas, so I'm on the radio tomorrow and on the radio on Christmas Day as well. So you have to do it. You have to do it. You can't.
Busy man. There's Declan. I saw Declan was in with us the other day. Said hello and doing a bit of shopping. He came out of the wilderness all the way up to civilization, come right over the correct side of the band there, and come up to say hello to us and get some Christmas shopping done.
Very, very good. Busy as always in there in the friend at hand. Yes.
Yeah, it was busy, but the train and bus strike didn't help. So I imagine it's going to be a lot busier this week because people didn't come up on the Saturday. They're going to be coming up during the week,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's but we were hobnobbing with the stars there earlier on. Justin,
you were not, were you?
Was I?
Who was in? Who is it? Who was in?
Best sword in Westeros. Ian McHaney was in.
Yeah. I thought it was the big girl there. It was the big girl. Look at that there. I'll bring it up full screen. Look at this here.
Oh, I look. There they are.
Uh-huh.
So that's a daddy from, or the granddad from Derry Girls, Ian McHaney. He came in to see us, and I think he'd never heard it was there. And he came in, and he says, is there a room next door? And I says, yeah. He says, we do tastings and stuff. He says, sorry, can we see it? So I took him in, and he was standing like this. So I sort of just gave him I didn't give him a full tour, and I just gave him a quick run round. And he was just like, I've never seen anything like this place. And I says, that's because there is nothing else like it. There's nobody like it in the world. So and he come, and then he came out, and he says, oh, shake his hand and all, and that was okay. And Big Jim there says, me and you have something in common. And your man goes, what? He says, I was in Game of Thrones as well. Your boy goes, brilliant. So there wasn't a big lot of conversation out of it. I think he just went, I'm not getting into that conversation. I've seen what I need to see. You've buggered off now. But yeah.
He must get it everywhere he goes.
You must get it, yeah. But he was really, really nice guy. Really top man. Really nice guy to talk to.
Very good, very good, very good.
So yeah, so that was the highlight of my week.
That's pretty good. It nearly matches in my book as Jean-Claude Van Damme being in. Like, nearly matches.
Yes. Oh no, he's a nicer guy than Jean-Claude would be, I think. Oh, sorry, correction. Jean-Claude. New face of Irish whiskey, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, nice guy. Big thanks to Jarlath, or as I like to call him, DHL Jarlath, for leaving me in new bottles of Old Cumber. New Old Cumber.
Oh, very nice.
Oh yes.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, lovely stuff. No, he left that in for me during the week. Thank you very much, buddy, and very much appreciate it. But we'll have do a wee bit of news, will we? Because there's been a couple of decent things happening this week.
Yes, some very good news for local people as well. Where will we head first then?
Well, we're going to head down to Dublin, and specifically down to Jones Lane, which, for anyone who knows the score, this is where the site of the old Powers distillery, and these are the old stills down there. So I was down a few weeks ago. They were doing some work and restoration, and this week they announced that it's all done, and they're in their tip-top glory.
I tell you what, they look fantastic. They look fantastic.
Well, you see, they look a lot better.
Look at that.
Wow. That's them getting cleaned up. So that was the photos I took. But this is what they look like now.
Wow.
Shiny, lovely, beautiful. Now that distillery was founded way back in 1791. The stills obviously are not from that. They've been they've obviously replaced. But these are the stills that were running back in the day, before it closed, back in the 70s. And they were running 900,000 gallons a year through the stills. Big producers. Big.
Even I know that's a lot. That is a powerful amount of whiskey. There's a pun there.
But no, the work was carried out by EML Construction. I don't know how to write that down. Now, those, if you're not sure where those are, they sit in. They're actually in the grounds of the National College of Art and Design. They actually sit down a little, as the name suggests, down a little lane. But they are all there, and it's iconic. I know that Carl Quinn would say that these are part of the history of Dublin, and big history of Dublin. Important part of the history of Dublin, and obviously distillers. Now it was Irish Distill IDL that funded the work. So good on them. It's nice to see them all back up, nice and shiny.
Now, I have to ask it. These were originally inside a building. Aren't they going to tarnish again if they sit outside?
I would imagine there will be, I don't know, there'll be maintenance done on them. They're not going to just do it and then bugger off and leave them sitting. I would imagine someone will carry a little bit of maintenance on them, because it'll not take much to keep them up.
Now, these are really, really important because so many of the distilleries are lost now.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, the thing about it is, sometimes I don't think people really appreciate just how important some of these guys were. I mean, it was John Power who essentially paid for and unveiled the O'Connell Monument in O'Connell Street, Dublin. I mean, at one point, the biggest industry in Ireland was whiskey production. So yeah, I think it's an important piece of Irish history.
Certainly. Where are we heading to next?
Well, we have to talk about whisky sales because a report came out this week saying that food and drink exports in the UK went past £9.4 billion. Incredible. And it says whisky played a key role in boosting drink exports as overseas sales jumped 13%. Continued demand for Scotch whisky from traditional markets in the EU countries, including France, Germany, Spain, and Poland, helped drinks exports to the single market reach close to 1.6 billion. I mean, I was talking to someone not that long ago who told me, "Oh, nobody's getting excited about Scotch anymore. It's kind of done." You know, these people are delusional. I mean, Ireland is taking baby steps at this. Scotland have been up and running for decades. When Irish whisky was languishing, and to be fair, Scotch was a bit at the time, the big Scotch producers are still by far and away the biggest sellers of it. And people drink more and more of Scotch than any other whisky by a huge margin. Ireland, this is not a zero-sum game. Ireland's not taken away from Scotland. This is not. There's not a set amount. More and more people are drinking whiskey. There's room for everybody to expand. Room for everybody to enjoy what they're doing, and plenty of scope for success. So Scotland again, just going from strength to strength, and this is before, as this report mentions, this is before the UK India free trade deal is announced, because the Scotch Whisky Association is aiming to add another £1 billion of exports in the next 5 years. Another £1 billion.
Wow,
incredible!
I know. It's real. I mean, and that's before. I mean, they're getting hammered by the tax man as well, aren't they?
Oh yes. So everybody seems to want to make it as difficult as possible, but it is what it is. They always manage to find some way of getting through it. But the Scotch whisky industry fueling £9.4 billion worth of exports of food and drink. It is an incredible figure whenever you consider that they make up about 2/3 of it, and a bit more.
Right, incredible.
It is. Now, next up, we're going for another success story because we're going down to West Cork. West Cork released financial results for last year showing the company had actually sales of €51.7 million. So down a little bit from the year before, and profits were down a little bit, but they were investing $15 million in the expansion of its distillery in Skibbereen, and they are now this is going. John O'Connell, a co-founder and director of West Cork Distillers, said the company's expansion at the distillery would provide it with a capacity to produce 22.5 million litres of pure alcohol a year and add another 50 jobs. I mean, year on year, its West Cork whisky brand is growing at around 60% year on year. Again, fantastic.
22.5 is about 25 times more than that Powers distillery, isn't it?
No,
I'm not very good at maths.
No, you're really, really, really bad at maths, Justin, because one's in gallons, the other one's in litres.
Right, okay.
So you need to convert imperial to metric.
Oh, the Ariane space rocket's just blown up.
Yes, that's Justin's three head going. I don't understand that. No, one's in litres, one's in gallons.
Right.
There is a difference.
Uh-huh.
How many litres is there in a gallon, Justin?
2.9.
Aye, something like that. That'll do. Put it like this. They're making a shit load of stuff. Let's just put it like that. Does that cover all bases for you?
It does, yes.
Aye, that's okay.
It's a lot.
They're making a lot. But yeah, West Cork's one of those ones that they're quiet. I say quietly, they've just sort of become one of the big players in Irish whiskey. And I've sort of done it on the quiet, and I know they have their critics because some of their whiskey, I have to say, ain't fantastic. You get stuff in Lidl, but it's cheap, and these days these days Irish whiskey, where I mean Irish whiskey in comparison to Scotland, a 4-year-old whiskey over here, it goes into a non-age statement, and people are charging £100 a bottle for it, and so on. So nice. It's nice that somebody is catering for the budget range, and the stuff in Lidl is perfectly serviceable, I suppose. And what you do is they have different cast finishes, so people starting on the journey don't have to be out a huge amount on the outlay to try different whiskies and at least get a toe in the door sort of thing, a foot in the door.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So good news a bit closer to home tonight as well.
Yes. Congratulations to David Boyd Armstrong down at Shortcross, or the Redamon Estate, because he's been elected as the chair of the Drinks Ireland Spirits Council.
Wow.
So he is. David's one of those guys who he's very much an engineer. You could tell that's his past profession, because he's very methodical in his thinking, and the stuff that they've been producing is everything that they have released of their own spirit is really, really good stuff. I mean, and they're not scared to experiment, and they're doing the Irish Bonding Company stuff now. So they are releasing the stuff that they've bought in, that they've finished with, and the presentation on that is absolutely fabulous. I have to take my hat off the presentation of that. To be fair, their own branding, it's functional rather than pretty, I have to say. But the Irish Bonding Company stuff looks amazing. But the stuff that they have, like what they're producing, superb. Now he is being charged with. Let me see. What they do, David Boyd Armstrong, which represents the spirit industry across the island of Ireland, on policy advocacy, taxation, trade and market developments, and the ongoing international protection of Ireland's geographic indicators. So that's Irish whiskey, Irish cream, and poaching, and Irish pot still whiskey, obviously, as well. So yeah, good on him. No finer man for the job. David just likes to quietly, I think, go about his thing a bit. Him and Fiona have a beautiful distillery down there. We've been down.
Lovely place.
It is. It's a gorgeous place, and they're really nice, friendly people who have an awful lot going for them. So Irish whiskey, if David's chair of it, is in a good place.
Good. Onwards and upwards.
Well, we're going across the water to our good friends over at the Tobacco Barn Distillery over in Maryland, because they have they got a visit this week by the governor of Maryland.
Wow.
Because they were named as the best farm to distiller in the whole of America. So they were. You have Sean, Dan, and Scott there in the middle, who own the place and run the place and stuff. It's Dan's farm, and the other guys do their thing. They're just good fun, nice people, smart as whips, doing really, really good stuff, and they thoroughly deserve an award. I don't know about all the rest of the whole of America, because I don't know all the farm distilleries in America, but they picked up this award, and I proudly have a very, very I have the bottle of the 700 mile an hour bourbon that they did.
Wow.
The one that they flew in the Harrier jump jet, and that's one of those. It's just like a trophy. It's one of the ones that I'll not be opening because it was very kindly given to me. So yeah, they are nice guys and got their just desserts, as the saying goes, and I couldn't be happier for them. So here's to them. Well done, guys.
Hats off. That's superb stuff. Superb.
Oh, they
stuff.
are. They're just fantastic. If anybody's watching this that lives anywhere near Maryland, go down and pay these guys a visit, because they're hilariously funny.
Is this like our Red Tractor Award, top farmer distiller? It almost is, isn't it?
Well, it's probably something similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just top guys, the bourbon's superb, and the bourbon cream that they do is really popular. I know that. So Scott will be around doing deliveries of that. At the minute, probably as we speak, he'll be heading over somewhere in his what you might call it, Tesla.
Well, our special guest star tonight. That time, is it? Yes.
Bring him on. Do we get a conversation with our Sam?
Here we go.
There he is.
How you doing, guys?
Not too bad, buddy. Not too bad. Sam, welcome to the show. You have a new venture on the go. So we're here to talk about Hearth. So tell us what it is and what it's all about.
Yeah, so Hearth's an existing bar. It's up in Ballyhackamore in East Belfast. And it's been going for a few years. Won Northern Ireland's best pub last year. Mm-hmm. We have opened a whiskey bar upstairs. So we've just taken it over, and we're now the partner bar for the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, which is quite exciting for Ireland. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell. Now, you have been an ambassador. I can't remember the exact title for your role with the Scotch Malt Whisky Society for a while now. You've been involved with it. So how did that come about, or why did that come about? Yeah,
so I've worked with them on and off now for I think it's about 12 years. Mm-hmm. It was I managed the venue in London for about 7 years, for about 5 to 7 years there. So I've been involved with SMWS, and then even after I left, I still would have represented them. I'm a huge fan. I'm a member, a very dedicated member as well. So so I've been connected with them for quite a while. Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know what the SMWS is, give us a quick history of them.
Yeah, so I mean, it's to be honest with you, I just haven't heard you talk there, Marty, earlier on about sort of the connections and maybe contrast between Ireland and Scotland. In my opinion, SMWS is kind of a really perfect example of why the Scots are so good at what they do. So it was set up first cask was bought back in 1978, but the society itself was set up in 1983. And it started with one guy called Philip Hills, or Pip Hills. Him and a couple of pals went up to Glenfarclas and Speyside, mm-hmm. and they bought a cask of whiskey. And they took it back in a trailer to Edinburgh, and they opened it and drank it and said, "This is amazing. Why aren't people drinking whiskey like this? Single cask, single malt whiskey, unadulterated, no caramel, no water, cask strength, just as it is." And then from there, they started to gain members from 1978 onwards, to the point where in 1983 they bought the vaults in Leith, which is the oldest building in Leith, and the membership just ballooned from there. But it's always worked under the premise of a cooperative, which is very mm-hmm. Scottish, whereby it's a private members society, not club. So everybody's welcome to join above the age of 18. But put
that caveat in there.
Yeah, but exactly. And be careful around fire with the whiskey because it's strong. And it ballooned from there. And it's always been a case of they buy casks of single malt, single cask whiskey, mostly from Scotland, but from all around the world. Yeah. They're the biggest independent bottlers of whiskey in the world.
Must be.
So, and I say that biggest as in they go through more casks than anybody else. So on average, they're going through 30, 40 casks a month. So it's pretty huge. Yeah. And there's 35,000 members worldwide. There's venues, I think, in 18 or 19 countries around the world. and now they're adding Ireland to that list.
Yeah, it's their bars are remarkable. I mean, the Kaleidoscope in Edinburgh is just an amazing place.
It is.
It's and the selection of stuff that they do. Just to put this in perspective, they do Irish whiskey as well. They've been doing Bushmills for a very long time.
Yeah.
I don't know when was the first one that came out from Bushmills that they were doing. It must be 10 years ago, more.
Well, it's distillery number. I believe it's either 51 or 81. I should know my numbers better. It's something one. So that, and they're on like 150 something now. So the first Bushmills came out, I'd say it's either late 90s, early 2000s. So it's been out for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so the SMWS do these independent bottles, and they do some fabulous stuff. I mean, some of their liquids are just out of this world. I've had a privilege of tasting quite a few, but they do experimental stuff as well. You know, they have the sort of buying power, if you like, of getting distilleries to think outside their comfort box on their own, don't they? You know,
absolutely. Well, I guess again, going back to what you were saying earlier on about the size of the Scotch industry, it means that there are a lot of single malt distilleries because you know the single malt distilleries support the business as a whole. They're kind of like the flavor makers in your blended whiskey, but also, you know, single malts in their own right. So there's a huge diversity in Scotland in terms of the styles from the country. And the society's always worked on the premise that leave no nose upturned. So it's all about exploring what whiskey has to offer. Mm-hmm. And because the society operates through its tasting panel, so all the whiskeys are chosen by the tasting panel. So on average, they reject around 60% of the casks they already own. And that's because it all goes through this tasting panel process. Yep. And the tasting panel is always unbiased. They're not made up of, you know, society people necessarily. They could be people from other walks of life, artists, things like that. And they're the ones that ultimately choose what gets bottled and what doesn't. So I would never say that the whiskeys are better or worse than anybody else, but it's about being interesting and challenging.
Yeah, so I mean, the ethos of the whole thing is basically to do stuff a little bit different than other people. I mean, that's really what an independent bottler should be doing anyway. You know, they should be sort of pushing the boundaries and changing things and getting the distilleries to maybe think a little bit outside the box too, you know. And with the SMWS, with their 35,000 ready-made customers kind of thing, you know, that's really what they should be doing. Now, what's your background, Sam? Because you've an interesting background in whiskey spirits yourself.
Well, yeah. Well, so personally, I was originally studying to be an antiquarian book auctioneer in London, and then I couldn't afford to just do that, so I had to work in a bar as well. Thankfully, and
you could have been in Harry Potter then if you were an antiquarian book dealer, Sam.
I know. I was no good at it though. It was I was better at the bar work, and I got into to whiskey fairly early on, and I started. I begged. Funnily enough, the guy who was the manager then of SMWS in London was Joe McGurr, who's now the owner of Boatyard Distillery. And I remember I begged him for ages for a job. I was just begging him for a job. And then eventually he relented and gave me one. And I worked behind the bar there for a while and then was an ambassador. And then I just, I was stuck on the place.
Yeah.
And never gave it up.
It's amazing how many people drink whiskey or interested in historical stuff. You know, I find myself, loads of books up above me and they're all over the place. It kind of lends itself to, you know, they're sort of very symbiotic because
absolutely, yeah.
You know, every time you start going about, you know, you pick up a bottle of Old Cumber and all right, that was 53 they shot and blah, and you start thinking about all these kind of things, and that's really what this should be all about, you know.
Yeah, well, even fundamentally, I was doing a tasting the other day and I was talking to a guy about the smell of whiskey, and he kept saying things like, you know, vanilla and coconut and stuff like that, which are great notes. You know, you get them in bourbon casks often, and talking about the idea of lignin and the fact that when you go into an old bookstore and you go like an antique bookstore and you open the books It's that smell.
Yeah.
And I grew up. My dad's a writer, and he collects books, and that smell of books, I love it. Like it's that kind of that vanilla smell. And like I've even got a whiskey here in front of me, which is a 28-year-old, and I'm telling you, from Speyside, and you open it up, and it does. It smells like old books. So yeah. So on multiple levels, there's a connection there.
But like this, I have a Kindle. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. It's very good. It's functional and all that, but it's just not the same as picking up a book. Even the tactileness of it, you just can't drink a book. You can't.
True.
But I always think, I've said this to somebody before, I can't remember, I was giving a talk or something, and I said, well, whiskey is history, because by law it has to be made in the past. It has to be of a different time, and it just, if you think about whiskey that's coming of age now, was being done during COVID, and it's it's kind of scary, but tell us more about her. Tell us more about your whiskey bar, and its association with the SMWS. How's that tied up?
Yeah, so funny enough, I'm just reading, and I'm jumping the gun here. I'm reading some of the comments on the side here, and somebody asked, is that the second SMWS partner bar in Ireland? So we'd actually started up originally with Dave in Bar 1661, so down in Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we're setting up here in Hearth is different. So it's me and Phil, the owner of Hearth. We got down years ago, and we were chatting about what we could do together, because we were interested in doing something with whiskey. He's the collector himself. And I had said that, my real passion, apart from my day job, which is more in Irish whiskey, is the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. So there's actually, we're opening up a space, a dedicated room just to SMWS here in Belfast, so in Hearth. So we're gonna have our own Scotch Malt Whisky Society proper partner bar, similar to the ones that they have in Scotland.
Yeah. They have quite a few all around the world, don't they? I mean, partner bars. I mean, am I right in saying they've one in Singapore?
Yep.
And I know they have loads of them all around the world. So, are you going to be on the map now with the SMWS?
Well, I mean, maybe I'm not allowed to say anything, but watch the space coming in the Unfiltered in the new year. So there's definitely we are going to be on the map in terms of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when I said with Phil, like I wanted to do something exceptional in Belfast, this automatically, working with SMWS, this collaboration automatically means that we're doing something exceptional here, because the whiskeys we're going to be getting in the outturn every month. It's a lot of whiskey. Like we just got the new outturn on Wednesday for December. And I think there's like 50 bottles in the new outturn. I got 13 of them, but we're going to be buying the new outturn every month. So there's going to be a huge variety of whiskeys. Yeah.
And we had the privilege of interviewing John McShane a while back.
That is a privilege.
Such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. And the thing about it is he's exceptionally complimentary about Irish whiskey. He does have he always comes out with his wee remarks about Scotland, but he's very complimentary about Irish whiskey,
Yeah, and he's so unpretentious. A lot of I quote John McShane on a probably on a daily basis. I'm a huge fan and a friend of John, and he's got a very unpretentious approach to whiskey, which is very in keeping with what the society is all about. And he's just a huge amount of fun. I think he's great. He's a great storyteller as well. I can't wait to have him over here.
He's a great storyteller and has great stories to tell, which are not necessarily the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Connor, Peter Stewart's asking, do you do tasting evenings? To which Kit Charles says, yes, been to 2, a Dunville's and an IDL, and both were brilliant. Yes, Kit goes to the opening of an envelope. If there's booze at it, Kit's there. Or Paul.
Sam, I titled this show tonight, "The Gallowglasses Are Coming to County Down." Was that a good analogy? Was it?
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. I get, yeah.
Ballyhack's a very happening place, isn't it, really?
Do you know, Justy, I wouldn't, I was saying this the other day, I live in South Belfast, but I wouldn't have set this place up anywhere else in Ireland than Ballyhackamore. I think it's a phenomenal area. I mean, they do have that term, which is the Ballysnackamore thing. But I mean, like you can hear from downstairs, it's Sunday evening, the place is buzzing. It's just a buzzing area. You know, there's got a real atmosphere to it, really mixed demographic of people. It's very open-minded community, and ultimately that's what we want. You know, we want people who are open-minded about what they want to do, and people who are willing to kind of explore what whiskey's all about.
Marty's going to kill me. It was the first pizza parlor in Northern Ireland. Capers up the road from you.
Are you serious? That's
fascinating.
fascinating.
The first pizza parlor in Northern Ireland, if not all of Ireland, but I might be wrong on that. But I don't want some friend of 1661 to have an argument with me over it.
Trust us, they know about food, Sam. His area of expertise is food. So I would tend to go with what he says because he would know about it.
I mean, it's very vibrant. The coffee shops, Mexican restaurants, absolutely beautiful restaurants. I mean, it is an incredible place. You know, I mean, a mutual friend of ours lives over that way, Marty's, and it really is a nice place.
Yeah, really is.
Yeah. Well, I've even said to Phil, like, I mean, when we're talking about this, and I think we can overcomplicate what we're trying to do, and I mean, and I believe that we could, you know, just be successful within this local community. And part of it's like this bar doesn't serve food. We don't have a kitchen, so we just work like people can get their takeaways and bring it in. So we work with local businesses in the area. I did a tasting the other day. We used Gallowglasses, which is the delicatessen down the road that does fabulous meats and cheeses and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then collaborating with like the local florist to just decorate the tables, just all that kind of stuff.
That's why he wouldn't let me go there tonight. He wouldn't let me go there. He says, I'm not driving all the way around to there tonight. I only live half an hour away from you. He wouldn't let me go.
No, he says to me, should we drive up and go and do it? I says, but then I can't have a drink and I have to drive all the way home. So it's a bit of a distance for me. But no, we will have to get a run up some one of these days. Give us an idea of cost. I know it sounds tawdry to talk about money, but people want to know. What does it range from there? Can you get a drink at ordinary prices all the way up to whatever?
Yeah, I mean, so the whiskey, funny enough, I was acknowledging somebody who was ordering other blends the other day. I mean, our whiskey prices at their most basic level. So you have to remember that the society is a cooperative. So, I mean, our prices are all reasonable, definitely for what they are. I mean, in front of me, I've got a 14-year-old single malt, single cask Scotch whiskey that I would charge about £7 a glass, so a measure. Which
very
is
reasonable.
Very reasonable. And then it gets even more reasonable as you kind of move up the ages. So this is a 28-year-old single malt, single cask whiskey. The other night, we actually do like... we in London, we used to do a Red Dram Friday, which is we have a set price for all the whiskeys. And so we're doing it on Thursdays. They do like live music sessions in here. So we set the prices at around £8.50 a glass for everything. So you can get like a 28-year-old whiskey for that price. So it's pretty super. I'm trying to obviously be welcoming. I mean, prices will range from around sort of like £6.50 up to about 20 odd pounds a glass.
Yeah, but for £20 for a shop, you guys, that's going to be a very good drink.
It's going to be amazing. And I mean, these aren't for, as we say on the bottle, these aren't for necking, glugging, or knocking back. You know, they're whiskeys for taking your time. We serve them in the SMWS glasses, which are perfect. And the atmosphere in the place is going to be very much. And we're doing like 5 dram sort of whiskey tastings as well. So yeah, pretty open-minded. And we're looking to explore. I mean, for me, it's about kind of building the community as much as possible. So yeah. And
now, just to clarify this, you don't have to be a SMWS member to come in. You don't have. There's no restrictions. Everybody and all's welcome.
Everybody is welcome. Now, as I say, we will be opening up the dedicated room next door. which will be for members. But we have this space here where the whiskeys are on sale as well. So it's like the difference between the Kaleidoscope bar in Queen Street and the room upstairs.
Yeah.
A private members club in East Belfast that isn't the knee breakers.
No.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that.
Peter's saying, is there something on this Thursday night? Are you having something this Thursday night?
Yeah. So this Thursday night, there's going to be live music. So there's they played some trad music in here, which is really good. And then I'll be at the bar serving drams. So if anyone wants to come in, by all means, it's pretty casual.
Excellent.
And as I say, I'll have a nice selection of whiskeys to pour from. But I mean, the collection that we've got already is, we've only got sort of 2 months, I say, but 4 months worth of outturns. And it's getting pretty chock-a-block. So we'll have that room full of whiskey very quickly.
And you're on the glider route. It's just out the front door.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can come from all the way from West Belfast. No problem.
All the way across just in the glider. So, right, talk me through just if you're doing a dedicated night, do you do dedicated nights to that month's outturn, or do you do dedicated nights to a certain distillery, or is it just you make it up as you go along? Or
we make it up as we go along. So we try to avoid in the society. So I'll give you a talk through how the society works. So we don't actually disclose which distillery the whiskey comes from. Now, you can go on Google pretty easily and look it up, but the reason why we don't say is because we want you to kind of come into it with an open mind. We don't want you to come in with preconceptions with how the whiskey is going to taste, because it might not taste like it at all. So how the society works is it's a numbering system. So the first number, which in this case is 48. So this is the 48th distillery we ever bought a cask from. And this is the 163rd bottle we've brought from that distillery. It's one of 185 bottles, which actually for 14 years means that the Angels had a good share of this whiskey. Yeah. It's 50.1%, excuse me. So again, they've had a good share of the alcohol as well. And it's a first fill bourbon barrel. It is from Speyside. Now, as I say, you could look up and then the distillery, but what we prefer you to do is first to like smell it, nose it, taste it, appreciate the whiskey. We have got tasting notes on the bottles. So in terms of actually organizing nights, we would prefer to go based on flavor. So the society has flavor profiles. So we have 13 flavor profiles from things like sweet and fruity, right up to like the super peaty styles.
Tar and leather.
Yeah, exactly. So so from a flavor point of view, and generally, particularly around here, what I've noticed is people are coming in and saying like, I love peaty whiskeys, or I absolutely hate peaty whiskeys, and that's a good way to start the conversation because we can choose something.
No peat for me, please.
Oh,
We've had some incredibly strong peated whiskeys recently. Blow your head off.
Peat's like mother's milk. It's lovely stuff. Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can understand how a little can go a long way with peat. But so you pick whatever it is you want to go for flavor, distillery, whatever it is you want to do. So have you any wacky ideas coming up? Is there anything sort of a bit outlandish?
Well, so actually with the trad music, we're looking. So I was talking to the guys from this thing, and we're saying, well, it would be good. I mean, without what I've noticed since COVID, like when I started in this industry, people used to just sit and listen to me talk, which could get pretty boring after a while. So I used to get up in the front of a room and give a speech.
No, Sam. No.
and people would listen to me, whereas I've noticed that people don't. Everything has to be participatory these days, which is great and experiential. So we're looking to actually pair the live music up with the whiskey that we taste. Like I always say that there has to be a hero to any show, and for me, when people come on a Thursday night, most of the people are coming here. A lot of them are coming to listen to the great music. So what we do is we try and choose whiskies that we think will go well with the music.
Justin just showing where the glider route takes you past and where you are on the map. Have you got some recent converts since you opened? Because I find lots of people these days will say, I've only really got into whiskey in the last few months or in the last year or that kind of thing. Are you making converts? So more of us and less of them is basically what I'm trying to say.
Well, this is actually a good instance where I will quote John McShane, because I think this is really apt. I mean, John always says to people that when people are starting out in whiskey, the natural inclination is to start people on soft whiskeys, like, start them on something really sweet or really light or really gentle. And John says, forget about that. He says, start them on single malt, single cask whiskeys. Like start them with that stuff and really figure out what flavor it is they like, because there's no such thing as like whiskeys for any specific type of person. I always say there's a whiskey for when you get a job and a whiskey for when you lose a job.
Yeah.
So it's very much down to how you feel at the time. So to answer your question, I would say I could convert anybody onto what we do.
I'm always the same, because I always find that people say, "I don't like whiskey." My dad was one of them people. He says, "Oh, I don't like whiskey. Can't drink it at all." But the problem is, whiskey can be very expensive, as we know.
It is. Yeah.
So people, what they tend to do is, "Oh, I'm not going to risk buying anything expensive," so they buy the cheapest shit they can buy at not to be other supermarkets are available, but like Tesco's own brand, super value, crappy 3-year-old blend that looks like David Dickinson. It's that color. And they take it and they drink it and they go, "That's awful." Yes, it is awful. You paid £15 for 2 litres of it. What do you expect?
Exactly.
But when you actually say to them, "Look, try something with a bit more expensive, bit more I don't want to say integrity, because I don't like saying that other people don't have it, but a bit more class to it, a bit more substance to it." And invariably, what you do, you find they go, "Oh," and the magic 3 words is, "Oh, I quite like that." I quite like that. It's the best sort of phrase you can hear, because then you go, "Well, there's loads of other stuff of a similar ilk that you probably will like."
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if you agree, Marty, but I think in so many other fields, particularly of food and drink, people are already doing it with coffee and with cheese and stuff like that. They want food with flavor. They want to explore like unusual flavor profiles and stuff like that. And people have become very accustomed to that. And what we find is that people's palates generally have changed over time. I mean, when I started in the society, you'd have had a lot of people who are interested in peaty whiskies. But I mean, it's the fastest growing category of single malt of whiskey today is peated single malt. And I mean, the interest is through the roof.
Yeah, my wonderful fiance, whenever I first met her, said, I've discovered that I quite like whiskey." And I said, "All right, okay." And you know yourself, whenever you hear whenever someone normally says, "Oh, I quite like whiskey," normally it means they bought a bottle of Jameson about 3 years ago and still have it,
Yeah.
But she turned around, she goes, "I've discovered that I like whiskey, but I like that Laprogue." And I says, "Oh, Lafroig," which your sort of innate sexism goes, "We cook like in Lafroig," I says, "Yeah, I like the cask strength one." Because I know hardened whiskey drinkers that wouldn't touch a cask strength Lafroig,
Yeah, no, of course.
But she loved it. She loved it, and was saying about just how much that she really enjoyed that bonfire in her mouth kind of thing. And people have that once they kind of get used to what peat is. It becomes a different thing for them, Some people they'll never be converts, but I think if people go, "Okay, what is this?" and they appreciate it, that you're not necking the stuff, that's not what it's for. It's for savoring, enjoying, and going through the complexities of it and trying to take out what's subtle in it. Kind of hard to do with Freud, right enough, but it is there. Once you start going down the route of that sort of citrus lemon note that goes through good Lafroigs, I find fantastic.
I'll tell you a story. I hope it's okay. It's a wee bit rude.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh no, we get trigger-burged all the time. Don't worry.
Go ahead.
So when I started in the society years ago, I was working behind the bar, as I said, and in London, and there was a number 66, so a distillery number 66, and it was called whiskey flavored condoms.
Oh.
And that was the tasting notes. So all the whiskeys have unusual tasting notes, and this one had whiskey flavored condoms. And it's funny because somebody in the tasting panel would have had to have picked this whiskey up and tasted it and went, hey, that tastes like condoms. And then everyone would have said, well, how do you know what condoms taste like? And then it came down to London and everyone said that. Like, how did they know what condoms taste like? And everybody tasted this whiskey and went, yeah, it tastes like condoms. And then the whiskey.
I'll take Justin's word for it.
And it sold out in seconds, and it all sold out to Scandinavia.
All right,
but it was hugely popular. But it was just a heavily sherry cask, and I mean, there's a flavor of whiskey that could work like that.
Okay. Listen, before we slag off Big JJ for coming up to the Big Smoke Christmas shopping for his wife to get on the glider to come down to your place, Sam, we must answer this. There's Connor saying Lafroig and Ardbeg are just about the worst starting points for an introduction to peat.
Okay.
Rate them.
Okay.
But look, as people try these things, and sometimes they just love them, sometimes they don't like them. But they are full on, you know. Something a bit more refined. Even Lagavulin a bit more refined than its two neighbours, you know. But there's certain whiskies that when they put in a little bit of peat into the mash bill,
absolutely,
it's not the peat. It actually lifts all the top notes rather than does anything at the base, you know. There's a couple of good examples of that in Ireland, where it doesn't pull out the. It's not those sort of base notes as I talk about, that sort of tarriness and leather. It actually just highlights what's at the top, you know, the citrusy notes. And when it's done well, it works really, really well. You know, some people don't even pick up on it. You know?
Now, sorry, you sent a thing through there about the Christmas parcels. Are we too late to partake in that?
Christmas parcels for what we're doing.
It was the Outturn 12 Christmas parcels you sent me.
Oh yeah, you can, if you go online, if you're a member, you go online. Actually, no, if you're not a member, you can buy them as well. So yeah, if you go on snws.com, you can purchase those.
Okay.
Christmas parcels. What are you doing for Christmas? You doing anything special, Fran?
I'll be at home in Belfast. So my wife, she's a singer, and so she'll be singing. Sings early music, so it's a busy time of year for her. So we'll be at home.
Carving the turkey. You doing the turkey bite?
Having drams. I had 5 years ago. My wife made beef Wellington for Christmas, and I said from there on in, that's it. That's what I'm eating on Christmas Day. So
good man.
That's it.
I might be having some Chinese food for my Christmas dinner. You know,
beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yes. I picked up another bottle this week, which just whenever you're speaking about I bought this one this week. This is the Blackwater Distillery's Turf Smoked. You see, this I'm looking forward to this because this will be a good whiskey. But they did something that sort of annoyed me a little bit. They put on Facebook the other day, Peter Moran, he put it on, and he said, "Oh, we're Irish, so we shouldn't say the word. I shouldn't say that it's peated because that's Scotland, and we're turf smoked." Oh, shut up! He
didn't want to admit that Portmore of pre-pit cats have come to an end, and he didn't want to admit that they're still smoking stuff in Ireland.
Do you know, I read an interesting one, Marty, a while ago, and it was in Caesar Otway's Sketches of Donegal, which was written back in the 1800s, and they said that people in Donegal used to refer to peat as being hogo, as in having the smell of hogo on whiskey.
Never heard that.
Which is a purely Irish term to describe, whatever spirits with that peaty, smoky smell.
No, that's the first time I heard that. Now, I'm sure down Donegal they probably come out with something like that as well. You know, that we'll have to ask Jim down at Ardra.
Yeah, funny. I always say that whiskies make bad spellers, so there's no consistency there.
There's our Peter Galbraith flying. He's flying over to the North American continent. Probably reclining, knowing Peter a bit of class about the man. He's been lying down having a hinge. I assume hinge do a great peated whiskey. I think it's the best of their range. I think the peated is a lot more peaty than people think it's going to be.
Powerful stuff. It's
lovely. Really
there's that traitor Kit Charge. He's watching Bradley Walsh in the Royal Variety performance.
No, you see, he's watching it, but Margaret will be watching us. Margaret will be watching us. She likes us. Not that phone at him, but she likes us. I hope she's doing all right. Well, by the way, Margaret, I hope she's doing okay. He put up a thing the other day that she a wee medical thing. So I hope everyone's okay with her. Wonderful woman. How she puts up with him is beyond me. Anyway, what's Connor saying here? As did I. Oh, to understand why peat can be overwhelming for a lot of people. Yeah, peat. It certainly can be. Peat can be. A little can go a long way. But if you like peated whiskies, they are good. They are really, really nice. So, Sam, we're going to say bye-bye to you, my friend. But
Thank you very much.
Just tell us again exactly where the place is.
So it's 199 Upper Newtonards Road.
Mm-hmm.
So we're Hearth Bar. Can't miss it. We're on the corner, and if you just walk upstairs, and we're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. I'll be there anyways, but the whiskey's here all the time.
Excellent. We will have to get a run over. However, I'm going to be going to the States very shortly and away for a couple of months. But when we come back again, we'll have to come up and we'll maybe do a wee live show or something up in with you.
I would love that. You be my guest.
Oh, brilliant.
Coming up to St. Patrick's Day when you're back too, Marty?
Oh, I'm back long before St. Paddy's Day. A couple of weeks before that.
Okay, yeah. So
maybe Marty think about Robbie Burns Day as well. It's a good one.
Oh well, put it like this: Burns night. I'll be stateside Burns night.
He was away last year, and I got invited to a slap-up dinner by Paul O'Keefe.
Oh.
Here, I'm available for Burns night. And
we'd love to have you. Justin.
I've got a new camera too.
I love the way you say, Sam. I'd love to have him without actually having met him.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I'm just looking for friends here. So that's why I opened this place.
Put it like this. I know Sam knows his stuff about whiskey. He's a really, really nice guy, very informative, and a great ambassador for the SMWS. So more power to your elbow, buddy, and we'll catch up with you again soon. All right.
Thanks very much, Marty. Thanks, Justin. Great to chat to you guys. All right.
Bye. Remember.